This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. I stumbled upon this video clip of Dennis Quaid, the actor. You may be familiar, probably not actually, with Dennis Quaid, the actor. He is actually being rolled out now as one of these conservative actors. There's a few of the actors in Hollywood that are taking a stand as conservatives. They all fit the same kind of formula. You got James Woods, who, again, I've talked about in the past with Mick Martin, the movie that came out about it. Of course, he was trying to spin it in a sense of saying that it was all make-believe and it wasn't real. This guy's another Hollywood plant. They're putting Hollywood plants out there, and they're luring conservatives with them. Dennis Quaid is one of them. James Woods was one of them. Dean Cain. A lot of these B-level actors, which is embarrassing. It's kind of embarrassing just in general, this entire thing that people are falling into with celebrities. And still, just because we have conservative celebrities, they're like, yeah, he's standing up for conservative. We need to rid ourselves of all of these people. They need to be, taken off of the pedestal and thrown into the mix with every other person because they're just regular people. You're under hypnosis. If you're influenced by them, you should never be, okay? But here's Dennis Quaid, right? Dennis Quaid was on, and this whole clip is just filled with Masonic symbols. I'm going to show you it. It's unbelievable. It's on Fox News, right? Fox News 666 with Fox. You can see Dennis Quaid doing the triangle of power. It's a hand symbol that you see a lot of these powerful people do all the time. This is not a normal symbol. People think that they're just putting their hands like this. They're not. They're strategically doing it. And if you don't know what it is, they're making a pyramid with their hands. It's a very obvious symbol that a lot of them make. The Merkel symbol, a lot of them call it. Trump does it all the time. Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama does it. They always do this. A lot of times they're wearing suits when they do this because it's very unrecognizable. Now, again, Trump uses the 666 hand sign as his logo, the MAGA logo. That should be obvious enough for people to decipher who Trump really is. But here's just another fraudulent slip that's done by Dennis Quaid, where Dennis Quaid is being interviewed, okay? He's doing this symbol, and I'm going to start with this clip. And the guy next to him happens to be wearing the greatest deception of all time jacket, which is NASA. And, of course, he comments about how he loves his coat, but I won't get into that. So you have NASA right in front of us with the serpent's tongue and the NASA logo. And he actually is about to play Ronald Reagan in a film, and he talks about how he's played Bill Clinton in a film. And he talks about, well, will he ever play Donald Trump? And he says how Donald Trump is just doing such a great job acting, playing himself, because the role that Donald Trump is playing is an actor, right? We've seen Trump with his Walk of Fame star. We've seen The Celebrity Apprentice. We've seen Donald Trump at WrestleMania. Okay, people out there just think that this is normal Donald Trump. He is an actor. They're all actors. They're playing a role. Trump is playing the ultimate conservative, right? He's suddenly a Christian. Everybody believes it. His political views have changed out in the public over the last 20 years or so, and people are like, well, he's allowed to flip-flop on that. Oh, yeah? He's allowed to flip-flop on that? He's so pro-Israel, it's insane, right? He's the poster boy, really, for Israel. Him and DeSantis for the conservative party. But Trump is somebody who's openly been pro-Planned Parenthood, et cetera. Now he's not. Now suddenly he's a Christian. Everybody just believes it because they fall for these actors. But listen to Quaid talk about if he'd ever play the role of Donald Trump. Well, why would he play the role of Donald Trump? Donald Trump's doing such a great job playing Donald Trump because, it's an act. It's a character. Listen.
You've played Clinton. Okay,
Yeah.
You're about to play Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
I was wondering if your golf handicap puts you in line to play Trump next.
It could be, but that's a tall order, isn't it, right now? Because he's doing such a great job of playing himself.
I think of all the politicians, he probably has earned the right to play himself in the movie.
Absolutely.
Has he not?
Yeah, he's doing such a great job of playing himself.
And again, you got to love the laugh at the end, right? This guy's just cracking up. So again, he's holding up the triangle of power symbol during this clip. The guy's got the NASA coat on, talking about Donald Trump, the character. And of course, Donald Trump is a character. Like I said earlier, the Walk of Fame star that Donald Trump has, only to be torn out of Hollywood to make it seem like he's not one of them anymore. I mean, how much more obvious can this stuff even get? He's been friends with these people his whole life. He becomes president. Suddenly they're not friends anymore. He's not the same person anymore. I mean, this is a total act that everybody seems to be falling for. Then as it goes on, I've got to show you this because I recently covered this with Elon Musk too. The handshakes are really important, especially if you're new to all this. Okay, they always deliberately will shake hands right in front of your face. They do this strategically for photo ops that you think are nothing more than just random photos taken for the newspaper. They do it so much so now out in the open, even on the news. They're Masonic handshakes, right? Look at this at the end as they do their Master Mason grip. Okay, and this is one of the more overly emphasized shakes that I've ever seen, where like he just does it, they hold on to it, they move around with it. Even Quaid makes a deadpan look right into the lens of the camera. I mean, how much more obvious can this get?
Hey, thanks for having me.
No, you're the man,
really
Dennis Quaid.
appreciate
This
it.
is
You
a
are.
big deal.
Yeah.
You class this joint up.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. We're trying.
You're doing great.
I'll see you soon.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No, you're the man,
really
Dennis Quaid.
appreciate
This
it.
is
You
a
are.
big deal.
Yeah.
You class this joint up.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. We're trying.
You are.
Big deal.
Really
Dennis Quaid.
appreciate it.
This
You
is a
are.
big deal.
Yeah.
You class this joint up.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
So again, that is an overly obvious Masonic shake. I covered this a few weeks ago with Elon Musk doing it out in the open. Okay, we've seen popes do it. We've seen presidents do it. We see celebrities do it. When they shake hands like this and they look into a camera lens, this is deliberately done. They know that the common person will never, ever notice this. And they know even conservatives out there won't pay attention to this. And they'll dismiss somebody like me openly trying to express Freemasons' connection to all of this global communism that's going on both sides of the aisle. They don't want to believe it. Conservatives don't want to believe it. They want to put their hope in some of these celebrities who they think have gone rogue from Hollywood, who are right in front of their faces. Oh, now Dennis Quaid just pops up all over conservative media, right? He's a he's a patriot now all of a sudden. They've hand-selected some of these guys that are going to give you small truths and tickle your ears, right? Quaid's one of the guys who's out there talking about a massive grid shutdown like Tucker Carlson is. Guess what? I've been talking about it for a decade now. Many truthers out there have been talking about it. When this stuff goes on, they expect you to side with them after the fact. After it all goes down, they're going to say, I told you so, listen to us. And then they're going to be able to herd people with Donald Trump, with these conservative politicians. These people are not trying to help you. They're trying to gatekeep you. Okay, they are members of the same brotherhood, the same secret societies. You don't make it in Hollywood. And if you want to say Dennis Quaid made it, well, that's a stretch. But I guess you could say Dennis Quaid made it because he's rich in Hollywood, but he's a B-level actor. He takes on B-level roles, right? It's also very fitting if you look at the conservative hive mind versus the liberal hive mind, how, all of us, we're not conservative, but we have conservative ideologies because we're Christian. And of course, we see all the insanity that's being normalized. So even if you're not Christian, you see the insanity of the left. I mean, the stuff that they're trying to tell people and tell kids is utterly insane. You just have to be sane and not be a liberal, right? But it's amazing how with the conservative side, they strategically put all these cornballs out there, like these cornball actors like Dean Cain, Rob Schneider, Dennis Quaid. They roll them out on Fox News, and you could see the liberal perspective when they look at some of these actors. They're B-level, they're corny as can be, and they all side with the conservative party. So it makes young kids out there not want to even think about having conservative ideologies because they see what really just looks like dorks. I mean, that's really what it is. And I've talked about this with the evangelical movement as well. With the evangelical movement, the government created the movement, what a Christian's supposed to look like, how a Christian is supposed to talk, how a Christian is supposed to act. And everybody out there thinks that they're freely thinking, right? They don't realize that they put you in a formulated box of what a Christian is supposed to look like, talk like, how it's supposed to be on Sunday at the pupil every week. That was created by the government. So when people find people like me, Christians, they're like, whoa, that guy doesn't sound Christian. That's how many times a day do I hear that? You don't sound Christian, right? Oh, this isn't what a Christian's supposed to sound like. Who told you what a Christian's supposed to sound like? Well, I could just tell by your voice, the way you yell and scream, and I'm not even yelling and screaming because they've been told what a Christian is supposed to sound like, which is a pushover, right? They've trained people to think that Christians are supposed to be a guy in a sweater with a comb over, or these really cringy groups like Hillsong and these other churches that we see now that come out and they minister, but they play music. I mean, to me, it's like the ultimate cringe. I think of myself as I'm just a guy who loves Jesus Christ, who follows God's word. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. None of us are. But, I think of myself as just a regular guy. I see these things, these churches, the way the 501c3 operates. That's all government formulated. It's so cringy. So when I look at it at the perspective of a young teenager, of course they're going to see that and be turned away from God, right? It's the same thing with these actors like Dennis Quaid. They see these guys and they're like, oh my, what doofuses. I mean, that's how everybody should look at it. Nobody should be looking like Dennis Quaid's so cool. This is cool. Dean Cain is cool. No. And they strategically picked those guys to be the faces of Hollywood conservatism, right? Hollywood actors who have broken free from the communist perverted ideologies of Hollywood. And this is what a conservative is. So those kids see that and they're like, oh, just like they see a lot of the 501c3 churches and they go, oh, yeah, that's not cool. That's embarrassing, right? And then, of course, we know how they portray Satan. Oh, Satan's cool. And they make all that stuff cool. So that's all strategically done. But back to Quaid here, right? As if it wasn't enough with the guy in the NASA jacket, right? Like, do you think that guy really is organically famous and on Fox News because he's funny? No matter what your sense of humor is, you should be able to tell some of these guys that are plants, like this guy couldn't be less funny. And I don't think I'm funny at all. I'm just me, right? This guy's supposed to be a comedian. That is, really cringe, right? He's another Mason. You can see from the handshake. That's why he's there. That's why he's wearing NASA in front of your face, because they rub this stuff in. Most conservatives actually, they're like, I'm awake. I know what's going on. They fall in for Q. They fall in for the island stuff with the list that they're getting psyoped into. They all believe in NASA, right? They don't even understand that NASA is the ultimate government front. It's the ultimate government front. Most of the laundering that gets done goes through NASA, right? And they but the good old days with landing on the moon. It's the fakest thing that the government's ever orchestrated is the moon landing. I mean, you can't name much more that's faker. I mean, maybe the hook up at the old Sandy. Other than that, I mean, tell me some stuff that looked faker than the moon landing and all the stuff with space that they keep trying to show us, where they make up every excuse in the book as to why they can't get back, and then they go, all right, we'll send a rocket there with no people, and it looks like an Atari game. The India footage, the footage we saw recently with NASA, it looks like it's an Atari game. It's so bad. And people out there believe it. Conservatives specifically, there's some type of tie-in with conservatives and the mindset of being a patriot with NASA. And it just shows you that they're not truly awake. And that's why they've cut the bottom out from truthers, and they've put in a lot of these plants, right? We have Fox News anchors that pretend to be giving you truth, talking about CIA agents and stuff like with Taylor Swift and assets, etc. You get all these alt-right media guys who give you a little bit of truth or at least talk common sense when they talk about the trans stuff. So people go that way and they fall into that. Russell Brand, etc. Okay, these are all operatives. This entire thing is, if you realize the entire thing is formulated in fake, you would wake up and you'd go, holy crap. If we separate ourselves from tech and the news, etc., they have no grip over our minds. You'd start realizing that your reality would be completely different. I continually always tell people about the Amish. There's memes out there. Look up some of the Amish memes. They're on the website. That during the outbreak, somebody came up, somebody posted a picture of an Amish guy farming. He comes up to him and goes, hey, did you hear about it? What do you. No, I didn't. He has no idea what the outbreak even was. Because really, nobody would have known what the outbreak was if it wasn't forced down our throats, because nobody would have seen it, because it wasn't real. It was only formulated in our minds from the television set. Nobody was walking down the road seeing people laying in the road dying, were they? So would you have known that this was going on? Of course not. Of course not. So as long as they keep you in the left-right divide with puppets like this, then you're in the game. And if you're in the game and they control both sides, then they can move you around the way they want to move you around. Right? So this guy's openly on television and he's doing the triangle power and he's talking about, well, nobody could play Trump better than Trump, because he's telling you that Trump is an actor. And everybody out there should have the common sense to know that. But the problem is that Trump is so good on the mic, and he is good on the mic. He is. I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite and be like, I can't believe how people are lured into him. He's funny on the microphone. He says things that we all think. I laugh when I hear some of the stuff he says, but I don't fall for it. I don't fall for it because I know better than to think that they would, he's the perfect guy. If you think about this new world order, he's the perfect guy. Nobody's ever been so lured into the conservative party. No people have been so lured in like they are now on both sides, right? Which is a form of communism where they put the party above everything else. They're putting Trump as the party, even above God, because Trump could say and do no wrong in their eyes. They get really angry when people like me talk about it. Like, you're jealous. Not at all. Would like to see people break free from the programming. Okay? If you're not one of them, you would have been whacked. He would be long gone. He wouldn't have had the first term in the first place. Okay? Know a tree by its fruit. Trump's poem about the snake, he's referencing himself. That's what Trump's referencing. And everybody's falling for it because they're putting their hope in man, because they're thinking to themselves, well, we could stop this thing from happening if we follow this guy. But the reality is we could all stop this from happening if we don't follow either political party and we remove them from power. And they go, well, removing them from power sounds like an insurrection type talk. You remove them from power by no longer participating in their government. You no longer participate in their government in many ways. If 50 million people stopped paying taxes and stopped listening to the news and suddenly formed their own government within this country, They wouldn't be enough cells for everybody. Now, of course, we know they could create false flags and they can come after us with the military, but really it would just take a massive movement for them to take their foot off the pedal. You see, their foot's on the pedal because they know that everybody's falling for it. If the people stopped falling for it, they would have to ease back and tinker their mind control and tinker this and tinker that and start over with a new psyop, with a different character that's not Trump and a different character that's not Biden. But instead, they're going forward right now because everyone's falling for it. So they use actors like Quaid who openly, slip of the tongue and tell you Donald Trump is the ultimate actor playing Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a character, right? Then at the end, when they do the handshake there, they're just rubbing it right in the faces of the conservative out there. He looks right in the lens as he shakes his hand, right? Nobody thinks about that stuff. Why would, do you ever, strategically when you meet somebody or you're taking a picture with somebody, what do? You turn to the camera. Sometimes you might hold up a thumbs up. You might put your arm around them. You ever do a handshake with the person? How often do you do that? Never, right? If you're going to go, hey, I'm with so-and-so, I want to take a picture with them, put on my Instagram or whatever robotic behavioral control maneuver you want to do with social media, you don't think about taking a picture with the handshake very often, do you? You do the other things that they've told you to do, right? Look at the camera, do the selfie face. Those are all things that they've formulated into you. That's all behavioral control. These people always do it with the handshake because this is how they communicate to each other. And this really, all it is a giant middle finger to everybody out there. That's what it is. They know they can get away with it, and they do because we allow them to. So Dennis Quaid telling you that Trump's an actor. You got the NASA shirt. You got the triangle of power. You got the very obvious Masonic handshake. Could it be clearer? Couldn't be to me. Hopefully everybody else out there, they start waking up. It's a deception on both sides of the aisle. The whole system is fully under their control. And if you're in the game and you're in the system and you think your vote counts, etc., they can move you around like a pawn in the game because they got control over your mind. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always and your families.